you're done with it. So hot mic, right? I'm looking at some shit on Twitter going, dude, you're dumber than dirt. There's a dude on here that is. Anyway, this is not what the show's about, but we're going to start right now. Turn that music down and let's go. Hello, people. Welcome to the show. It's Thursday, and usually it's FTG Thursday. I don't even know if I want to call it FTG Thursday today, but I got one particular FTG that, there's a bunch of them, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, this is enough pre-intro because I really just need to turn the music off, please. I'm the lead enough that I just should start the damn thing. So here we go. Johnny, play the intro.
Ladies and gentlemen, coming to you live from the Lucky Dog studio in a hidden location somewhere in the upper Midwest of the United States of America, it's a brother making his own way but with all the wrong opinions. Welcome to the Morning Night Live with your host, the one and only P-Dog Knight.
You know, sometimes I look at that intro and I go, gosh, I'm in a bunch of different shades during Black History Month. But yes, I am in fact black, and it is in fact Black History Month. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Morning Night Live. I'm your host, Marty, also known as P-Dog Knight, on the internet. And welcome back to the P-Dog Knight channel, where, we talk about what happened in the world and news and whatever. I try to give you the lowdown on what the most fresh and exciting news is. And so sometimes you help me with that. You send me stuff that, that helps me keep up on things. And thank you, Tyre Alexander, the first sponsor today. By the way, Tyre Alexander, you are the new Streamlabs Superstar sponsor of the day. Thank you for dropping this small bullet in the tip jar, also known as $2.23, aka a 223. And dropped a couple articles in the thing, and oh my gosh, we're all gonna die. Perhaps in 7 million years. Oh wait, we won't be here. But there's one story that it's like, more proof of global warming, and then the other story is signs that you may be a right-wing extremist, and we'll get to those after we get through the main topic today, because I really want to focus on the main topic, which is deport them all. Deport them all. There's this stupid bill. I don't know if it's stupid, but it doesn't make any sense that Joe Biden keeps saying that he can't do anything about immigration until the Republicans, join him and some of the Senate rhinos like Mitt Romney and whoever else on this stupid immigration bill that they keep pushing as part of the Ukraine package, and as part of the aid to Israel package, and the part of the more money to Syria package, and border too. Oh yes, don't forget the border. The afterthought border bill, which is completely unnecessary for Joe Biden to stop the flow of migrants across the southern border. And so I'm just saying, there is a solution, and it's called deport them all. First of all, this deal that, I know I'm going to say hi eventually here. This deal where they say, we're going to allow up to 5,000 a day, up to 3,600 illegal entries a day, and we're going to process all of those every day, the illegal ones. It's like, whoa, hold on. Why are we even processing the illegal entries? If you come into the country illegal, you should immediately be deported, and especially ones who are not. They claimed asylum. Well, there's a bunch of them who claim asylum who we immediately know are not eligible. And so the ones who are not eligible that we don't even have to, all we have to do is, where are you from? And they'll tell you, and then you go, oh, well, you're not eligible for asylum. You're deported. Get the fuck out of here. That's what I'm talking about. But I'm just a guy on the internet and living in my house in Minnesota doesn't know shit, right? So, but we'll find out how much you know. I got a bunch of articles basically on Immigration Day. So that's the main topic of the day. And if I get to anything else, great. But I'll definitely try to get to Tyre's articles because they're funny. Well, funny to me because funny, and one of them's funny in an ironic way, and one of them's just funny. So we'll get to those. But before we do anything, of course, I am going to say good morning. First in the chat on Rumble, Mr. Avocados Diablo gets the bell. Great work, sir. Very quick on the spot. Almost beat me on that one. I see someone else beat me on YouTube, though. But we'll get to that. Also, good morning, Jimmy Das Hotep Nation! And the greatest name on the internet, Phantom Dog Fart. That is just the greatest name ever. And to the other 11 or 9 or whatever of you watching on Rumble, good morning to you too. Say hi in the chat. If you're watching on Rumble, say hi in the chat. That's important to me. I just want to know that you dropped in and who it is, and I can thank you for being here, but I can't thank you if I don't know who you are because, Rumble doesn't give me a list. So just say hi over there. First in the chat on YouTube it is the first of the month, and of course it's Mr. Rabbit. Rabbit gets the bell. Hey, what did you do that for? Oh, that's a clue. Anyway, rabbit, because supposedly you're supposed to say rabbit on the first day of the month. If the first thing out of your mouth on the first day of the month is rabbit, then you shall have good luck for that month. And so I think rabbit kind of missed the calling there because it's a little bit off, but it's funny, so we say it every day, every first of the month. Rabbit shows up, and good for you. Also, good morning, Jimmy Das Hotep, of course. I'll do it twice. And Avocados Diablo, who whoa. Why do you keep doing that? Oh yes. Oh, never mind. Yeah, that's Avocados Diablo's theme song, as well as foreshadowing of things to come. Also, good morning, Kashal. Good morning, Karis Soldier, Share Your Gospel, Aaron Meredith, Tyre Alexander, the Gentleman Lich. Also, Zed the Snarky, Mike Savage, Blarg, Attack Alpaca, good morning, Bookworm Addicts here, as I scroll down. Jason Burns, welcome back again. Nice to have you here a couple of days in a row. Also, Black Hebrew Israelite.
That's right.
It's nice to see you back. Good morning, my favorite Canadian Jaeger pony. Lord Stanhope's in the house. Simon Wolfwood. I did say Tyler F already. Yes, I did. Also, Special K on Acid. Welcome. Patio Furniture's in the house. Darren Root, Episkipos, Episkipos, Agipetesco. No, Edupetsco. I can never say it. I'm trying. I'm doing my best. Also, good morning too. I think that's everybody. That's everybody so far. So if anyone shows up, if you're here, let yourself be known so that I know that you're here. I appreciate you all joining us. Now, very important, we got 30 people here already. 12 likes. Hit the like button. That's how that works. And share the stream, because I'm sure. And if there's anyone here who's never been here before, unacceptable views is here too. If there's people here, if you're watching, right, and you just came by because you saw this deport them all thing, and you're curious, just say hi in the chat. Now the only reason that you have to follow the channel or subscribe to the channel to chat is because if I don't do that, there's some of these really weird YouTube people who like to drop porn links and shit into my chat, and I don't like that shit. So you have to subscribe to chat. You can chat immediately, but I just want to let you know that. That's why I do that. You must be subscribed to chat. And if you want to unsubscribe later, that's up to you. But that's why we do that. All right, let's get into the news. I'm trying to keep it high and tight today because I really want to talk about some of the immigration articles that I have up today. But of course, we do have to acknowledge things happening in the world and that things that are trending on Twitter. And the number one trending thing on Twitter right now is Black History Month. Now, February, as you know, in the United States of America, is Black History Month. So I always like when, I like to scroll through the trending topics on Twitter every once in a while. And of course, the first thing that popped up on Black History Month is, of course, this one, Happy Black History Month to all of those who celebrate. Now, if you're not familiar, good morning, Nomad.
Hammer time.
If you're not familiar with the face on the screen, that is a former NAACP director. Select the boys in the house, too.
Yeah, boy.
That is a former state NAACP chairman, Rachel Dolezal. So we are celebrating Black History Month with a photo of Rachel Dolezal. Now I'm sure too there's going to be a lot of conservative ink type people out there bitching about Black History Month, and I know some of people in my chat do too, saying why don't we have a Black History Month? Why don't we have a White History Month? Well, I don't like Black History Month either, people. Let me just make that clear. Not because I don't think we should teach history of people of melanated enhancement. The history of the melanated enhanced peoples, but I do think we absolutely should. I just think rather than making us an other by giving us a special month that, and of course it's the shortest month, I don't think we should do that. I think we should incorporate what they would be teaching this month as something new and fresh year round with all the other stuff, so that we can be just Americans. But it's kind of a different philosophy that I have than maybe some of the people who are thinking about this. But I got to tell you, I think it would be, if you really want us, because look, I don't think of America as a melting pot. It's not a melting pot. It's more like a stew with all kinds of ingredients, and all the ingredients make the stew what it is, and you get a little flavor of this and a little flavor of that, but they're all still in one pot, and you don't serve them. You don't eat a stew by taking out the separate pieces and separating on your plate and then eating just little bits. You need to eat the whole stew the entire time to get the full taste of the beautiful recipe that you've concocted. And so that's why I wish that we would just treat it. Look, and I'm not saying don't teach the things you teach them during Black History Month. I say teach them year round with everything else, and then we're all part of the stew. You know what I mean? But by separating it out as a month, it just makes us other. When we complain about being othered, or at least that's the new thing, you don't want to be othered, right? You don't want to have that as microaggressions. Well, Black History Month is kind of a microaggression. It's treating us as something different as opposed to something the same. And this year, it's not the shortest month. It gets a bonus date. No, name another month that has more than 29 days, Darren. Even with the bonus day, it's the shortest month. But anyway, so that's kind of my philosophy on Black History Month. How about incorporating it into the entire teaching of history? Now, other things that people are talking about, of course, that famous Morgan Freeman quote is up here where he thinks Black History Month is ridiculous. And there's some people who are telling great little stories about people in history. Now, let's see. My favorite thing about Black History Month is getting to read the same recycled comments from ignorant people who think they're teaching us something new when they're just repeating what they heard from other ignorant people. It's like Groundhog's Day for the groundlings. For example, this is saying the same. This is the one that this is kind of what I'm talking about. Like comments like this, and please help me. I'll try to help you understand it. Right. This unpopular opinion. Black History Month is racist and is used to cause division instead of teaching actual history. Not every black man in America was a slave. The first black millionaire in America was a slaver. Yeah, great. We know. Good. That is important, I guess, to know. But, it's like our Black History Month is literally a signal for black activists to manufacture racism. Yeah, best just to sit it out. No. Look, that's not it either. Okay. But on the other hand, like I said, I'd rather have it taught all year and not have a separate month, because then it makes us other. Good morning. Those ain't real, dude. So anyway, Dr. Carter Woodson, a Republican, created Negro History Week to show unity during Abraham Lincoln and Frederick Douglass's birthdays. He wanted to cooperate their working togetherness. It wasn't until Gerald Ford that it became a month. You say it should be taught as American history. It's usually not. And that's true. It's not usually that. Many of us who homeschooling teach it year round, which is what it should be. Our history isn't just slavery, by the way. And that's the other thing. Whenever we get to Black History Month, a lot of people want to treat it as though the only thing Black people were slaves, and then, then making it, making it all about that, when there's so many cool things that Black people have contributed to this country. Simple things like, when Edison was inventing the light bulb, okay, the man who improved the carbon filter that made it so that light bulb would last longer was a Black man. I mean, I don't remember his name because I never learned it in history, and I want the achievements of Black people celebrated just alongside everybody else, not on a special month. Then we're all part of the stew. Irish were slaves, yes, but you know what? Never to the extent that the African, I don't want to call them immigrants. The Africans that were forced to come here were not on the same level. Irish were indentured servants who could buy themselves out of it and all that stuff. And by the way, welcome, Scrappy. Nice to see you. But I want and look, this year, I'll get to this in a second, because a lot of these conservative Republican Black people right now are the ones who are, at least the ones I follow, a lot of ones I follow, the ones trying to kind of give the same message. The people who constantly bitch about Black History Month, are you being divisive too? Well, you kind of are. But so it's like, look, I wish that's another reason though why I wish we would get to the point where we're teaching anything you're learning this month just because it's Black History Month, just incorporate it into American history, because it is all American history. And let's see if we can just be all part of the stew. And because now we got people arguing just strictly about Black History Month. Well, part of the reason it came around originally because no one ever talked about it. The Irish slaves were much less valuable than American slaves. Often the indentured was effectively a lifetime of work. I'm not sure what that meant, but anyway. But yeah, and the other part, yes, and everyone were slaves at a period of time too. Yeah, oh sure, the Barbary pirates that were raiding Europe and raiding ships from Europe and enslaving, they were out looking for Caucasian white people slaves, right? And they had them rowing their boats, and it was brutal. And that's another reason why I don't want to necessarily focus just on slavery. Because, again, there are still slaves around the world today. It is a fact that it happened, and it was a bad thing, and nobody wants to think it was a good thing. But if that's the only thing you talk about in Black History Month, you're missing the boat. Now, I'm going to move on from this, though. I was a slave. Mom and Dad made me mow the lawn and take out the garbage. Oh, good God. Hello, Jethro Hetero. How you doing? And the Arabs still keep slaves. Yeah, they kind of do. They do. And also in where is it? Not in Libya. They still slave trade. There's still slavery around the world. China, there's slaves. It's slavery hasn't necessarily ended, but it's interesting too, because really the first wave of anti-slave movement, the anti-slave movements came in the countries that were of the European descent, countries like the United States and Brazil and a lot of places. So it's interesting. That's the abolition of slavery happened in these places where we are. So anyway, I don't have no problem with Black History Month so much. It is when they invent things that are ahistorical and pass it off as history, using that as a cover. Yeah, I want accuracy also. So let's some of the by the way, I watched this movie last night. If you ever seen the movie CB4 and this little part came out.
I'm black, y'all, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm blacker than black, and I'm black, y'all.
I watched that last night. And it's such a dumb movie, but there's so many little funny things in it. But it was a spoof on the gangster rap of the CB4, not CB40. You're thinking UB40, CB4, Cell Block 4. Funny movie. Or there are funny bits in it. It's if watching it now, it's really it's dumb, but there are some funny bits in it, and that's one of them when he goes all pro black. But anyway, oh my God, what is this? What is he doing here? Oh my gosh. Okay. This guy, I guess he's trying to debunk interracial crime. Or, okay. Oh, I see what he's doing. So he doesn't debunk it. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I don't care about that. So, but the kind of Black history I like to hear about, Black American man helped it lead the invention of stainless steel. James A. Pearson Jr. received the first 8 of 8 patents for non-corrosive metal. Stainless steel is used in all areas of our lives. So that's the kind I want. This is the kind of history I'd like to hear about or see incorporated in just to American history. Why? Because maybe the young black kids who think school is stupid and are failing in the so-called failing schools. Because I don't know if it's the schools that are failing or if the parents are failing. If your kid can't read at an 8th grade level when they're in, or if your kid reads at a 2nd grade level when they're in 8th grade, and you don't know it as a parent and aren't asking the school what the hell is going on here, and not kicking your kid in their ass for not doing their homework, then it doesn't matter how good your school is. Does your school have books that have words in them? Does it matter if your math book is 7 years old, because math really doesn't change that much? In fact, I'd rather have a 20-year-old math book than a current math book, because the 20-year-old math book, clearly people were more successful using that learning style. So it's not just the schools, it's not just the parents, there's a combination of things. But if you have kids learning, oh my gosh, there were people who invented things and they looked like me. And I don't think that's even necessary. You don't have to look up to someone who looks like you. If someone wants to be a pilot, and there's not a lot of black pilots, but you want to be a pilot, who do you look up to? Other pilots. But, so anyway, Black History Month is trending. Also trending is Happy Black History Month, which are a lot of funny things happening on this particular one. But if you want to scroll through that. But also, here's one that annoys me about Black History Month. Apparently, this year's Black History Month has a theme. And I didn't know that there were themes for Black History Month. This year, the theme is African Americans and the arts. And I'm like, well, first of all, Black History Month or African American History Month? Because they're not necessarily the same if you ask certain different groups, right? But African American history, African Americans and the arts, each year a theme is chosen by the Association for the Study of African American Life and History, the keepers of Carter G. Woodson's legacy, who is the Republican who came up with African American History Week. But here's my problem with this. Black presence in sci-fi, anime, and comics. Look, you don't have to necessarily do a lot of research to find Black people in the arts. We are just saturated within the arts. And I want kids, you don't have to study that to find African Americans in the arts. But I want the emphasis on the academic, the science, the inventors, why this. I can't even express myself how annoyed I am about this. Now, granted, things here that where it's in sci-fi, anime, and comics, okay, you might not know about that. But overall, in the arts, like, if you didn't know that there were black people in music and theater and movies and just art, period, I'm like, you probably don't live in the United States, because the celebrating Black History Month, African American, and the arts, we're all you don't have to look far. You don't need. I don't know if you need if you don't know who. Maybe it's like okay, maybe they wanted you to know who Jackie Wilson and Sam Cooke are. It's like African American history, the history of African American in sports. Yeah, we're all over sports too. And look, if you're telling kids history and all you're talking about arts and sports, is that what it's going to get them through life? The sports and the arts kind of are self-evident. Even though you might say some history of sports where like when Jackie Robinson got in baseball or something, or obviously Jesse Owens is that's American history, right? But I don't know if you need to do that, but that's the theme this year. So there you go. All right, enough. Moving on. Other trending subjects. Well, that one. What was this I had here? I had something here. Let's see if I messed it up. Nope, that was it. Okay, we're gonna close that one. I didn't have one there. National Prayer Breakfast is trending today. Apparently, it was a National Prayer Breakfast, and somebody. Of course, this pisses some people off. What's better than a national prayer breakfast? Honoring the separation of church and state. That separation is one of the truly unique and original contributions the U.S. Constitution made, not only to political science and thought, but to all humanity. Excuse me. That is false. It's actually false. I mean, that was just a line in something Jefferson wrote. The Constitution basically says that the state shall have no established religion, as in a state religion. Like in England, you have the Church of England is the established state religion, or in Muslim countries, Islam is the state religion. It doesn't mean that necessarily you can't, they say you cannot have prayer, you cannot say an invocation at a school event, a religious invocation. Yeah, there is nothing in there. But other things that though, here's something that happened at the National Prayer Breakfast, though. The President of the United States shook hands with Speaker Johnson during the National Prayer Breakfast on Capitol Hill. Wow, look at that. I couldn't decide which sound effect to use. And then Joe Biden just closed his remarks at the National Prayer Breakfast by saying, oh, wait, here's how he closed it. Listen, here's how Biden closed it.
We have really tough differences. We really go at one another. Let's remember who the hell we are.
He closed it by saying, well, let's remember. And let's remember who the hell we are. Then he kind of messed it up. Biden at National Prayer. My hope is we continue to believe our best days are ahead of us. Has a nation. Wait a minute. What? What is it? Here, let's listen to what he said.
Deep division in our nation.
Yes, it's only in your right ear.
President Lincoln said, "We are not enemies." He said, "We are not enemies."
Well, Joe, you treat us like enemies every day and every year. Extreme MAGA Republicans. Hi, Now What Studios, my friend Wu, and also Scrappy, and somebody else showed up, and I don't know who it was, but thanks for being here. What's he saying? Yes, this is only on your right ear if you have headphones on.
But friends, we must not be enemies, he went on to say.
Okay.
I've long believed we have to look at each other, even in our most challenging times, not as enemies, but as fellow Americans.
Okay.
Scripture tells us the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience.
Whose scripture is that,
kindness,
Joe?
goodness, faithfulness.
He's reading that off a teleprompter.
I believe that's our collective calling today.
Okay.
Here we are in
Hello,
this
blue
room
screen.
among the statue of heroes who shaped our history. And here we know faith is a living spirit that awakens our passions to come down from the pedestal and act to serve. That's why over the door of the rotunda there's a scripture depicting Cleo, the muse of history. In her hands is an open book in which she records the events taking place here. In the citadel of democracy,
Okay.
she's a silent witness to the American story of war and peace, insurrection and stability. As we gather this
Wait, did he just say insurrection and stability? What?
insurrection and stability, as we gather
What? Did anyone know what this sentence means?
all democracy,
Did he read the sentence wrong?
she's a silent witness to the American story of war and peace, insurrection and stability.
Insurrection and
We
stability.
gather this morning, what will Cleo write for the future?
He'll write that
About
you
what we did in our
are
time.
sponge brain shit pants.
What will she write
Or she will.
about us? My prayer, my hope, is we continue to believe our best days are ahead of us. That as a nation, we continue to believe in honesty, decency, dignity, and respect.
Every time I see Joe Biden talk about decency, I think about his cabinet and some of the people he's brought into the White House. Holy shit. Anyway.
We see each other not as enemies, but as fellow human beings, each made in the image of God, each precious in his sight. We leave no one behind.
Except for, oh shit. Except for those dead soldiers in Afghanistan.
We believe
Sorry.
everyone deserves a fair shot. We give hate no safe harbor. Together we believe
Except my hate for Republicans.
in America. That's my prayer, to remember who we are.
Okay, I shouldn't. Look,
Whether-
it's not a bad speech someone wrote him, but I think he's just going through the motions. Anyway, this morning in Washington D.C., President Kagame and First Lady Jeanette Kagame joined close to 3,500 guests, including U.S. cabinet members, U.S. Congress members, the diplomatic corps in Washington D.C., and diplomats and U.S. and foreign business leaders for the National Prayer Breakfast. That's the president of Rwanda showed up. As the senior chaplain opens the National Prayer Breakfast with a sermon, American flags as a backdrop, I ask again, why do we have chaplains in Congress? Why do we have a National Prayer Breakfast? Church-state separation protects religion as much as taxpayers' religious freedom. Again, because it's not separation, it's non-establishment. They're not establishing a religion, a state religion, by doing this. They're asking people of all faiths to pray. And if you don't have faith and don't want to pray, don't fucking pray. They're not making you. So anyway, if you really want to watch the whole thing, they have links to it. Let's see here. Moving on. House Republicans are trending. And the main reason House Republicans are trending is because of they've decided to take the articles of impeachment that they've drafted in committee and bring them to the full House on whether or not they will impeach Alejandro Mayorkas. Now, my take on that, and also Mayorkas is trending. Speaker Johnson pushes forward Mayorkas' impeachment on House floor. We will be moving forward swiftly on those articles. It's long overdue, but Secretary Mayorkas is only part of the problem. Yeah, and again here, impeaching Mayorkas, and this is my thought, impeaching Mayorkas is just theater. if the House GOP wants to fix things, they defund stuff, which, and granted, they've been, thank goodness they've been going against this bill. But let's talk about some different articles related to these two trending topics, and that's why I pulled up several articles about immigration today. And my thought on immigration is in the title of this stream today: deport them all. Okay, I think, you know, if you want to really solve immigration, the illegal immigration, because we need immigration, right? We need immigration of people who we know the fuck they are coming in and why, and that they'll contribute to this society, right? And we can't just willy-nilly let 7 to 10 million people in over 3 years, because that's stupid. Now, what I'm thinking here is, first of all, there's a class, because remember, all these people are being coached when the traffickers and non-government organizations and lawyers from the United States go down there and they try to coach all these people on what to say when they're to get in the country. And all they have to say is one word. If they say the word asylum, then our Border Patrol right now, their only job really is to process and make sure that these people are comfortable until they move somewhere else from wherever they cross the border. So they get all these people across the border and, why are you here? Oh, asylum. And it's like, not assalam. That's some of them are saying assalam because they're not from countries. They're from countries that say that. But anyway, as long as they say asylum, right now our Border Patrol's job is not to stop people from crossing the border illegal, but to process them when they do. They've changed the mission of the United States Border Patrol. And so when they say that they want 1,300 new border agents, it's not because they're going to be there to stop people from infiltrating our country. It's so that they can do more paperwork and assign them a new, hand them a new cell phone or smartphone and give them a court date that's probably 10 years down the road at this point, rather than saying, wait a minute, whoa, wait. You're seeking asylum? Okay. Do you have any way to identify yourself? And look, a lot of them drop their. The other ones they tell them to do is don't come here with an ID, because you don't want them to be able to ID you. You just got to say no, speak any English, asylum, and then they're just going to process you whatever name you give them. And that's why when they're moving around the country, a lot of these cities are complaining, right? Chicago, Denver. I saw a report about Denver last night when I was working. I was just listening to stuff while I was working. And Denver has 40,000 migrants that are in Denver, and they're just full. They don't have any more service. They don't have any more room for them. They have tent cities, and people are freezing and are cold in the winter, and blah blah blah. And sob story. And then the mayor of Denver's mad because Texas is busing all these migrants up here. A whole 40,000 when probably 3 to 4 million have crossed the Texas border, and you got stuck with 40,000. Oh, so sad, so bad. But it's not just Texas sending these migrants all over the country, right? They come here with an idea where they're going to go, and they find a way to get there. And in fact, our own federal government is also busing and flying and, getting transportation for these people to go all over the country after they process them, and then they got to come back for their court date, right? Which, we don't even know how many are going to, because we don't know where they are. But some get ankle bracelets, I guess, but they don't know who they are. So they process all these people. Here's the problem. So if everyone who comes across that border says asylum, well, there's certainly a large number that we can immediately say, nope, we're deporting your ass. Why? Because there's rules for seeking asylum. You can't just say asylum. First of all, if you ask them, okay, fine, you're seeking asylum and you came here from, say, Honduras, right? Well, supposedly under international law, you're supposed to seek asylum in the first country where you can seek safe refuge. There are several countries between here and Honduras, or at least 3 or 4, isn't there? Is Honduras? Honduras is south of, is it Mexico, Ecuador, Honduras? I don't even know the order of the Central American states, but let's just say that you're crossing more than one state. Well, first of all, why didn't you apply for asylum when you got to Mexico? because that's the first country where you would have safe harbor if you were seeking asylum, not the United States. And then there's the countries where they have to come across water. So we're getting, they say 31,000 recently Chinese nationals crossing our southern border and asylum. Oh, we're going to process you and you'll come back for your date. Wait a minute. Hold up. You're seeking asylum from China? How did you walk? Are you all related? Are you like lost children or descendants of Jesus Christ and you walked across the water to get here? No, those people should be immediately deported. Senegal, that's another big one. Was it Senegal? I think it was Senegal. India, there's thousands and thousands of migrants coming through our southern border from India. Did you teleport into Mexico and then it became the first country? But then again, you were in Mexico. Why didn't you seek asylum in Mexico? That's the first country where you could seek asylum. Let's say you flew from India to, Mexico to get in the United States. Well, you're in Mexico. You can seek asylum in Mexico, couldn't you? No. So there's a whole class of people that should have been immediately deported. Deport all of them first. Then, really, because no one's seeking asylum. No one in Mexico is seeking asylum. Well, maybe people who are stuck in those, places with the drug lords and shit. They just want to get away from there. But why don't they just go to Mexico City or something? Go south. Get out of that area. So anyway, there's really no reason that you can't deport them all. And also, they're saying, oh, well, Biden can't do this because he needs a border bill. He needs this border bill passed so he can do something about it because the border bill would force him to close the border. You know what? No. The current immigration law already allows you to do that, Joe. So that's a lie, too. So anyway, thank you, by the way, Rod Line, for sponsoring the show. Greatly appreciated. Dropping a deuce in the tip jar. Who said, did he bring up a Greek god at a prayer meeting? Yeah, is it Cleo a Greek? I mean, I think so. So yes, he did. Thank you. Thank you very much for sponsoring the show. Good point. So anyway, let's get into some of these articles about immigration because that was my little rant so far. Exclusive video shows migrants tucked away in a hidden room under a military guard at a major U.S. airport. Now, this is the kind of shit we're dealing with right now. Because they're just packing them wherever they can. And again, this is in Atlanta. Now, I know I know Greg Abbott wasn't busing people to Atlanta, but here we go. Video exclusively obtained by the Daily Caller News Foundation appears to show a U.S. service member guarding a room chock full of illegal immigrants at Atlanta's Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport. Now, how did they get to Atlanta? Republican State Senator Colton Moore, who is vice chairman of Georgia's Freedom Caucus, took the video Tuesday night and told the Daily Caller that he learned of the hidden room full of migrants through a whistleblower at Atlanta's airport who noticed an influx of illegal immigrants coming through the facility in recent months. Now remember, because the Biden administration is flying a lot of these illegal immigrants across the country to various locations. And it's funny too, when the illegal immigrants fly, they don't have to show ID. Isn't that weird? They don't have to have ID. That's a wow. Now I wonder, this would be interesting. I wonder if I could go to Minneapolis International Airport and have a plane ticket. And when I get to TSA, all I would have to do is no speak of the English if they would let me fly on a plane without an ID. And, I was like, how is that why they don't want voter ID? Is that why Democrats don't want voter ID? So you can just pop in there. I don't need no speak of the English, no ID. Oh, okay, you can vote. Doesn't matter. That's a weird, that's a stretch of the whatever. Thank you, Gunfox61, by the way. The return of the news. Oh, God, what do you got for me? Dropping a Hamilton in the tip jar. And Gunfox61, you are the new Streamlabs Superstar sponsor of the day. Thank you very much, Gunfox. Appreciate that Hamilton in there. That's good news for me. Right. What did you send me? Oh, interesting. Okay. I'm going to speed up here so I can get to you and Tyre's articles here. I'm not going to get to the rest, but I'm going to get to these two for sure. Oh, wait, hang on. All right. So anyway, back to this article. So anyway, yeah, look, this is also at O'Hare Airport. They found they're putting up curtains and they're housing hundreds and hundreds of these migrants in airports. They're housing them in hotels. They're moving them into schools. They're moving them to, warehouses that they're taking over. It's unmanageable. And the idea, and look, Denver, when in that article, the news report I saw from Denver, where they're complaining that they have 40,000, right? Oh my God, we have 40,000. In Chicago, they're mad because they have like 60,000. In New York City, they're at 110,000. Imagine if you were one of those cities and you're bitching about all the illegal aliens, the illegal migrants, whatever you want to call them. Imagine if you got all those. By the way, hi, Gunfox. And so you got 40,000, 70,000, whatever, 100,000. Imagine how Texas is doing when 4 million are coming through the border in over 3 years. You got a measly 40,000 in Denver, and I'm sure, I don't think Governor Abbott's just sent them all there. A lot of them just made their way there. Some of them use U.S. government money, transportation, whatever, to get there, because a lot of them, again, the United States government is flying them on commercial airlines to places. How did they get to Atlanta? I guarantee you that Greg Abbott didn't send any of these migrants to Atlanta, and yet they have an airport that has a bunch of these people there. Now, here it is. The Biden administration. Here it is. The Biden administration began flying illegal immigrants in secreted overnight trips to New York as early as August 2021. According to the New York Post, in recent years, federal authorities have recorded a record spike in illegal immigrant crossings at the southern border. Border Patrol recorded more than 2.2 million encounters in fiscal year 2022. And this bill that they're trying to push through Congress would allow for 1.3 million in a year anyway, which is more than any year, or even that, during the Trump administration that they had encounters. So it's like, these bills are just bullshit. Now, in front page, I was making the case why this impeachment of Mayorkas is, a folly. Because even if they do get the votes to actually impeach him and send it to the Senate, it's not going to go through the Senate. But here's a case that someone's making in Front Page Magazine by Daniel Greenfield, that's saying that it is a justified impeachment and the most justified impeachment in American history. So I'll go through a little bit of this. As the House Homeland Security Committee advances articles of impeachment against Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas over an invasion of the country by millions, Democrats and some Republicans argued that it was a policy dispute and not impeachable. Political and policy disagreements aren't impeachable offenses, former Homeland Security Secretary Michael Chertoff argued in a Wall Street Journal op-ed. The journal's own editorial board used the same line in its own subheader opposing impeachment, arguing that a policy dispute doesn't qualify as high crimes and misdemeanor. Democrats have been making that argument all along. The Democratic Committee on Homeland Security put forward a 45-page statement which mentions the word policy 45 times and argues that impeachment is an extraordinary remedy under the United States Constitution. It is not a tool for policy and political differences. They claim that this is a simple policy dispute, a disagreement about how a different party is attacking a policy problem. Well, I hope they didn't mean the Democrats are attacking a policy problem, because they're not attacking at all. They ain't doing shit about it, except for blaming Republicans when they won't approve a bill that's attached to some other shit. Anyway, let's see, this is Goldman saying this, and the Republicans are trying to abuse their power and the Constitution to convert what is simply a disagreement into somehow, some way, a high crime and misdemeanor. There is no crime, much less a high crime or misdemeanor here, Representative Goldman contended. Impeachment is not, now, this says impeachment is not an extraordinary remedy. It's just the ultimate form of congressional oversight. Presidents are not kings. They do not have unlimited power to do whatever they please. And when cabinet members may be appointed by presidents, they must be approved and serve at the pleasure of the two branches of the federal government and not just for one single man. The same Democrats protesting that impeaching Mayorkas is an abuse of power were responsible for sending Peter Navarro, a former Trump official, to prison for refusing to testify before their partisan committee. That was and is an extraordinary abuse of power. Mayorkas, unlike Navarro, is a sitting government official. Impeachment, as Alexander Hamilton wrote in the Federalist Papers, involves those offenses which proceed from the misconduct of public men, or in other words, from the abuse or violation of the public trust. Impeachable offenses relate chiefly to injuries done immediately to the society itself, he wrote. It's hard to think of a better example than allowing millions of illegal aliens to invade the country and doing everything possible to willfully impede the efforts of the states to try to slow that invasion. As the internet meme goes, Homeland Security had one job. Is our homeland secure? Entire cities have been overloading and are groaning under the weight of an invasion that has no precedent in American history. Major cities are swarmed, police officers are being assaulted in broad daylight, and stores are being cleaned out by massive mobs of illegal migrant invaders. There were 2.5 million encounters at the border in the last fiscal year alone, and that does not count the millions more who were never encountered. The same House Committee on Homeland Security moving to impeach Secretary Mayorkas has released statistics showing that there were 269,735 encounters just in the last month of the fiscal year. Nearly 7 million alien invaders have shown up on Mayorkas and Biden's watch. They include tens of thousands of gang members and criminals, hundreds of terrorists, and enough fentanyl to kill every American 10 times over. And those are just the ones that we caught. Is 7 million illegal invaders a policy dispute or a war? Biden, Mayorkas, and other officials claim that they are helpless to act, which is bullshit. And that they're doing the best they can, which is bullshit. And that the House Republicans can fix the problem with the border deal. All of that is a lie. The Biden administration calculatedly set out to dismantle every border security policy. It ended construction of the border wall and sued Arizona and Texas for trying to fortify their own borders. It fought in court to end Title 42 authority by claiming that the pandemic was over, even as Biden tried to justify his massive student loan bailout plan because of the pandemic. It went to court to be able to not only release illegal alien invaders into America, but to do so without court dates. When a court blocked the release of illegal aliens without court dates, Secretary Mayorkas denounced it as a very harmful ruling. Holy shit, I missed that one. During the negotiations for the border deal, the Biden administration insisted that preventing it from releasing illegal aliens into the country was a red line that it could not compromise on. That's because releasing them is the whole point. You can file this under treason or high crimes and misdemeanors, but it is at its most elemental and a profound breach of the public trust with massively catastrophic consequences. It is a policy dispute in the same sense that announcing China can freely invade California or that anyone born before 1959 can be freely killed without fear of prosecution is a policy dispute. In theory, every policy position, no matter how horrifying, is a policy dispute. Public officials should not be casually impeached over policy disagreements. They should, however, be impeached when their malicious actions violate their duties and cause tremendous harm. Now, there's more and more and more on this vein, and I don't disagree with it, but it is within the constitutional duties of the president, and whether you think they're doing it right or not, this is a reason to vote them out of office. This is a reason to maybe censure Mayorkas. This is a reason to do all this other thing. It's still not, in my mind, high crime and misdemeanor in the sense that it was written in the Constitution. Now, I'm not a constitutional expert, but again, the fact that now maybe it's worth it to go through this as much just to get Mayorkas to resign. You know, the Democrats did this with Trump. You know, they didn't really have a high crime mystery. They made it up as they went along. And the idea that they impeached Trump and then it failed in the Senate. Well, at least they can say they impeached Trump, right? That's the twice impeached president, the former president. It gives them a talking point for the future. And maybe this gives them a talking point against Mayorkas. But, you know, he's not going to be removed from office by the Senate. And the best thing about this to me, and yes, absolutely FTG Mayorkas, the best thing about this to me is while they're doing this, they're not passing any other more bullshit legislation. So I suppose if this is a great time waster that lasts months and months where they don't pass any other bills, I'm fine with that because, you know me, I think they should only be in session 6 months a year and be limited every 4 years to just repealing all the dumb laws. So, you know, is dereliction of duty a crime? Maybe not legally, but it's certainly a crime to American humanity, and also to these people that are coming here and we're just paying their way. Drives me crazy. Anyway, the president has a policy of allowing an invasion. Perfectly fine. No, it's not perfectly fine. It's absolutely fucked up. And so it's a great reason to not reelect that asshole. And so there you go. All right. Other articles on this in the Daily Wire. House Committee advances 2 articles of impeachment against Mayorkas, which we already know. If you want to read more detail, but that's where they're at. They took a step towards impeaching Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas over his handling of the border crisis early on Wednesday in the face of immense opposition by Democrats in the Biden administration. So details are in the article. Mexico. Now, part of this bill that they're trying to push through Congress, saying that part of the bill would require Mexico to be on board with some of this shit. Well, the Mexican president is calling bullshit on Biden's promise to shut down the border. Mexican President Andrés Manuel López Obrador expressed skepticism on Monday in response to President Joe Biden's promise to, quote, shut down the border. Biden said over the weekend that he will shut down the U.S.-Mexico border if Congress passes a Democratic immigration bill that also includes military aid to Ukraine and Israel. Again, the bill is not a immigration bill. It's an aid to Ukraine and Israel bill that includes some border policy. It's not a border bill. It's mostly an aid to Ukraine bill. $65 billion. So the Senate is currently negotiating the details of the bill, which reportedly implements a mandatory shutdown once 5,000 immigrants are apprehended in a day. So it's $49.99 every day. That includes the ones who actually come through ports of entry. That's still 1.8 million a year. The record that they just recently broke was like 22.3 million, and it's still going to be 1.8 million a year to process. In theory, anyway, during a Monday press conference, López Obrador slammed what he described as Biden's demagogic attempts to shore up his dismal approval rating on immigration ahead of the 2024 presidential election. This is the Mexico president doing that. What's this? How long is this? No, that's 3 minutes long. I'm not doing it. So anyway, the Mexican president's laughing at his ass. Here it is. Here's what he said. It would give me as president, Biden said it would give me as president an emergency authority to shut down the border until it can get back under control. He's already able to do that. That's already within his power right now. He can say under emergency authority, this has gotten out of hand. We have too many people coming across. I'm shutting down the border. He said, if that bill were law today, I'd shut down the border right now and fix it quickly. Well, a former official with the Department of Homeland Security echoed López Obrador's word, telling NBC News that the U.S. president's words are purely political. You can't shove back 8,000 migrants a day without Mexican approval, the unnamed ex-official reportedly said. what you do would create panic surges in weakened parts of the border. According to NBC, the bill would shut down the border if migrants' encounters averaged over 5,000 over a 7,000-day period or exceeded 8,500 in a single day. During a potential shutdown, 1,400 migrants would be permitted to legally cross through ports of entry, and restrictions would remain in place until the number of crossings decreased below 75% of the amount that triggered the shutdown for at least a week. So listen, this language doesn't even make sense. So they're saying, okay, we hit 5,000 average over a 7-day period. We will shut down the border. But then the restriction would remain in place until the number of crossings decreased below 75% of the amount that triggered the shutdown for at least a week. That means it's not shutting down. You're still letting people cross the border. It's just the dumbest language. It's like, no, let's just have prevention. And right now, you have the emergency power to do. I don't care where you send them. If Mexico won't take them, then send them. You know, you're flying people all over the world anyway. Send them home. Charter flights all over the world. Send them wherever they came from. There you go. Boom, bam, bang, bye. So, holy shit. It's amazing. Now, this is a funny article. Stop the press. Joe Biden didn't lie. He is, in fact, unable to take effective measures to tackle the border crisis. Now, this is an interesting take. Wait a minute. He didn't lie? He didn't lie. He actually can't take effective measures to tackle the border crisis? And where's this one going? It was totally unexpected, and the journalist present can't believe it. The president came out of the White House looking, as usual, like an astronaut floating in the ether with narrowed eyes, a foggy mind, and his guard down. He answered a question about the immigration disaster, and for once, perhaps for the first and last time, he told the truth. I've done all I can do. That's right. To, quote, be able, end quote, can mean two things. It can refer to the fact that it is possible for someone to do something and for something to happen. It can also mean that someone knows how to do something. In the case of the Biden administration, as far as immigration is concerned, it is impossible for someone to do something. And if they do, it is impossible for it to work, because in order to do so, they have to know how to do it. If you look closely at Joe Biden's track record, you will discover that his main problem beyond immorality and lies is that he is not able to do his job. So that's why they're saying he told the truth. It is possible that the president is able to do other things. For example, he is able to pet dogs. Unfortunately, he also knows how to pet non-dogs without asking permission. He is able to walk in a straight line, although in recent years he's forgetting how. Years ago, he was able to play soccer, perhaps as a child, although we already know that he was born 80 years old in the 3rd century BC. Biden is also able to choose good ice cream, and he brags about being a wrestling expert, although in the event of a political summit match, I'd bet my paycheck on a Trump victory. The president knows quite a bit about cars, or at least he likes to make his people think he knows quite a bit about cars, and he is definitely able to keep quiet, especially when you ask him anything to do with his son Hunter's scandals. In short, he's able to do a few laudable things, but he is unable to take effective measures to tackle the border crisis. He does not know how. He cannot. In his incompetence, he has done all he can, but the problem is exactly the same as it was. In fact, it is worse. He is able to shit his pants. Yes. Another example, the United States is suffering from an alarming crisis of deaths from fentanyl overdose. I suppose the government is more interested in talking about the deaths from COVID or climate change. I imagine this alludes to people who die from a stray spark from an electric car battery. But the fact is that the upward curve of fentanyl fatalities is frightening. It is a public health emergency. All Biden has done to address the problem is to talk about the Chinese and beg them not to send Mexico the raw materials from which the drug cartels then manufactures the fentanyl. Really? With the damn Chinese communist regime? It is a typically incompetent way of solving things. You have Mexico much closer than China, and yet you go begging your greatest enemy to help you. And you refuse to wring the Mexican neck because the idiot they have for a president might do a number on you in the middle of an election year. You know, left-handed cockfighting. The drug issue is the same as immigration. And by the way, the two issues are related. The answer is identical. He doesn't know how to fix the problem. So yes, he was telling the truth. There's more, but I'm going to leave it at that. You get the gist. All right. And then there's a whole timeline on how Biden created the border crisis and encouraged illegal immigration. They start in 2021 with all the executive orders. They go to 2022 where they kind of they shackled their own agencies on what they could and could not do, and they basically turned Border Patrol into a stenographer or an application taker, where they where their job is to process everyone who comes through as asylum seekers. So if you want to really, this is a detailed long list. And all the way up to suing the state of Texas for enforcing recently enacted state laws, allowing Texas judges and magistrates to order illegal immigrants to return to their home country. Everything he's done has exacerbated the problem that he says if they push this bill, I could stop immigration immediately. Bullshit. In Chicago, city-sponsored migrant shelters are filled with rats, rotting food, and garbage. That's not good. A report finding that some 2,500 migrants are living in squalid conditions in Chicago in a city-sponsored facility that was converted from a warehouse to a migrant shelter. The report claims that the shelter was infested with rats and cockroaches, is covered in rotting food and garbage, has water quality issues, and has open sewage problems, among other issues, according to Chicago's WTTW-TV. The complaints about the conditions at the shelter in the 2200 block of South Halsted Avenue were revealed in emails sent to Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson in October, well ahead of the incident in December when a migrant child died at Comer Children's Hospital after he took ill at the shelter. I mean, the shelters are just overrun. It's insane. So, and this is probably, rinse and repeat in every city where there's a large, substantial number of migrants shipping themselves and being shipped to. Also, Mike Johnson, the Speaker of the House, is rushing through a tax bill unveiled days ago over significant policy objections for both conservative and centrist factions of the Republican Party. Apparently, the tax bill, so the conservatives saying that there's going to, let's see, what is it? Conservatives spoken out against provisions of the bill they see as handouts to illegal immigrants, particularly an expansion of the child tax credit without language requiring a parent to have a social security number. They argued the expansion would serve as an additional powerful migration pull, even as migrant encounters at the border reach record highs under President Biden. That tax credit fight takes place as Senate negotiators continue seeking a separate compromise on border security and foreign aid. In that fight, conservatives have accused Democrats of prioritizing policies that would alleviate border bottlenecks by more speedily processing migrants and hiding and housing those already here instead of deterring future migrations in an election year ploy to obscure the severity of the border crisis and show action, even if contrary to American interests. Johnson indicated Wednesday morning that he would move the bill later in the evening under suspension of the rules. Suspension votes require 2/3 support, but allow for a speedier passage and are generally used for non-controversial, low-profile votes like renaming post offices. However, Johnson is signaling a new normal for suspension votes that could sidestep oppositions in his own party. Only weeks ago, he suspended the rules to move another consequential piece of legislation, a continuing resolution which extended government funding levels at priorities enacted in December 2022 by Speaker Nancy Pelosi and Majority Leader Chuck Schumer during a lame duck Congress. So is Mike Johnson kind of stabbing his own party and the country in the back with this shit? So anyway, let's see. It's a sign tonight's tax bill vote will be close. GOP Ways and Means staff is pleading with committee members to light the board up with green as quickly as possible to show support amid significant GOP opposition to this bill. It's fucking House shenanigans. That's just pushing through. Are they gonna have to get rid of this fucker too? I'm sorry. I don't understand it. A Democratic governor says we should be deporting some illegal immigrants. Oh my gosh, what is going on here? Oh, the ones who beat up the police officers. New York Governor Kathy Hochul said deporting a group of illegal migrants who I would stop calling illegal migrants. They're not, just illegal aliens, who allegedly beat up 2 New York City cops is on the table. Deporting them is on the table. Good. Why are they even? Why is that even a question? 2 New York Police Department officers were allegedly beat in Times Square by a group of illegal immigrants, provoking calls for deportation, according to the outlet. Hochul was reportedly asked Wednesday whether the alleged perpetrators should be deported. Quote, I think it's actually something that should be looked at, Hochul told a reporter. I mean, if someone commits a crime against a police officer in the state of New York and they're not here legally, it's definitely worth checking into. Oh my goodness, it's worth checking into? Thank you, Kathy Hochul. What's going on here? Unbelievable. So anyway, you probably saw that happen. Let's see. Now let's get, that's the last one I have for today, isn't it? All right, let's get into the articles that were sent to me by our friends here, and then I got to go. We're not going to get the rest of it. So here's the first one that Tyre sent me. Venus was once Earth-like, but climate change made it uninhabitable. Oh my goodness. They must have used a lot of internal combustion engines in Venus. The planet Venus was once likely had a surface temperatures similar to present-day Earth. Recent modeling has revealed it probably also had oceans, rain, perhaps snow, maybe continents, and plate tectonics, but Venus's climate was permanently altered when a catastrophic volcano eruption released vast quantities of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. Wait a minute. This is from the World Economic Forum. This is from the World Economic Forum. Do you see what they're doing here? Venus's climate was permanently altered when catastrophic volcano eruptions released vast quantities of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. These dirty motherfuckers. So, Earth will become Venus if we don't stop the carbon output. And again, this is models. Oh my God, they are so dirty. We can learn a lot about climate change from Venus. Our sister planet, Venus, currently has a surface temperature of 450 degrees Celsius, the temperature of an oven self-cleaning cycle, and an atmosphere dominated by carbon dioxide, 96%. Now, wait a minute. 96%, and with a density 90 times of that of Earth. Venus is a very strange place, totally uninhabitable, except perhaps the clouds some 60 kilometers up, where a recent discovery of phosphine may suggest floating microbial life. But the surface is totally inhospitable. However, Venus once likely had an Earth-like climate. According to recent climate modeling, for much of its history, Venus had a surface temperature similar to present-day Earth. Oh, this is due to climate modeling. So it's a theory. Oh my God. Tyre, if you're here, you know I hate you right now. I'm moving on. I can't do it. And then, that's there's the governor. Is that what you just sent me, Tyre? Wait a minute. Oh no, this is the one. Oh, this is a beautiful article. So remember I said that there's a new thing that we can check for to see if you might be a right-wing extremist, and that something that you do that will radicalize you. Well, that new thing is reading books, but not just any books. Lord of the Rings and 1984 could lead right to right-wing extremism, government report warns. Holy shit. You know what? So a government report is saying that if you're reading 1984, it could lead to right-wing extremism. Now, think about that. Just think about that for just a second before I even read any of this fucking article. That reading 1984 could lead to right-wing. wait a minute. They don't want you to see their playbook? Is that what they're telling you? They don't want you to see their playbook. Did they really think this out when they wrote this report? Author Douglas Murray published a scathing review of the British government's counterterrorism prevent program, which apparently reported that authors like George Orwell, J.R.R. Tolkien, and C.S. Lewis can radicalize readers. In his column, Murray described how Britain's Prevent program was founded to support counterterrorism efforts, but was gradually swayed into focus on only extremists from Islam and far-right ideological mindsets. He evidenced this claim by citing that Prevent was consulted by an activist group such as Hope Not Hate, which he argues believes that people who voted for Brexit and are against illegal immigrants are far right. He further noted that Prevent's Research, Information, and Communications Unit has previously listed historical texts as red flags. Essentially, if someone is reading 1984 or works by Lewis, Tolkien, Aldous Huxley, or Joseph Conrad, they should be suspected of being far-right extremist terrorists. Murray's own book was on the list. Prevent was founded in 2019 and is reviewed annually. The purpose of the review is to consider Britain's strategy for protecting people vulnerable to being drawn into terrorism. See, 1984, they don't want you to read their playbook. They don't want you to read the playbook. They want to control you. Holy shit. These assholes. And finally, Gunfox sent me this one. Federal judge deals a blow to the EPA, blocks agency from imposing race-based mandates against Louisiana. What? In a twist that could make Lady Justice raise an eyebrow, a federal judge has thrown a mighty wrench into the gears of the Environmental Protection Agency. Judge James Kane, of all people, decided to stand up for the state of Louisiana, of all places, against the EPA's intrusive overreach. Judge James Kane has issued a ruling preventing the United States Environmental Protection Agency and the U.S. Department of Justice from enforcing disparate impact regulations on the state of Louisiana. Imagine the courtroom drama. On one side, we have the EPA, a federal behemoth that sometimes seems more powerful than Mother Nature herself. On the other side, the state of Louisiana, famous for its spicy gumbo, jazz music, and now for standing up to the big bad EPA. In a rare display of common sense, Judge Kane declared, "It is abundantly clear that defendants' actions iterated herein have created great cause for concern, not only for the state of Louisiana, but also for our sister states who have also found themselves at the whim of the EPA and its overreaching mandates." Oh, in other words, the EPA's reach was so far it could practically touch the moon, and Judge Kane wasn't having it. He went on to say, "To be sure, if a decision maker has to consider race to decide, it has indeed participated in racism." Saying, oh, God. So they're saying the EPA has participated in racism. Pollution does not discriminate. Bravo, Judge Kane, for reminding us that pollution doesn't care about your skin color. But the real star of the show was Louisiana Attorney General Liz Murrill. She said the EPA could not explain any legal basis for its attempts to force Louisiana to violate the federal constitution. It's like the EPA thought they could just throw around their authority like confetti at a Mardi Gras parade, but Louisiana wasn't having it. Murrill continued, "When the EPA refused to explain its reasoning for threatening millions in federal funding in Louisiana and other states, we sued to require the EPA to explain itself to a federal judge. The judge agreed the EPA is wrong." In a world where it often feels like common sense has gone extinct, Judge Kane's decision to block the EPA's race-based mandates is a breath of fresh air. The EPA should stick to fighting pollution, not promoting it through divisive policies. So, I still hadn't figured out what, they didn't say what action, though, in the entire story, other than, I have no idea. But the actual ruling, I guess, is here. Federal judge deals blocks agency from imposing race-based mandates. From disparate impact regulations against a state. Okay, so that I guess it did say it. I just didn't hear what I said. All right, guys, that's it. I got to go. There's a bunch of other articles and links today that are really interesting, and I wish I had time to get to them all. But some of them are getting caught up. Oh, by the way, Cori Bush says that the attacks on her were racist and sexist. So of course that's surely what it was, because Cori Bush can do no wrong. She can hire as much of her boyfriend for security as she wants, and pays him as much as she wants, because she's a black woman and you cannot question her. Anyway, that's it for the day. There's a bunch of other articles. I'll drop them in the links. Thanks for being here. Hit the like button, share the stream. And thanks to our sponsor today, Rod Lyon, Tyra Alexander, and our superstar sponsor of the day, Mr. Gunfox61. Welcome back, sir. Nice to see you. I got to go. Thanks. My name's P-Dog Knight, and I'm out of here. Bye-bye. Hey, this is P-Dog Knight, and thank you for watching today on the P-Dog Knight channel. If you have an observation or remark you'd like to make about this video or my channel, I absolutely welcome you to write it in the comment section down below. I really look forward to hearing from you. And before you go, if you like what you saw but you're not already subscribed, please make sure you hit the subscribe button and definitely click that bell that pops up afterwards so you'll be notified when I post new videos or when we go live. I broadcast my live show, The Morning Night Live, Monday through Friday at 10 o'clock Eastern, 9 o'clock Central. A special thank you to all the supporters of this channel who share our videos on social media and who make donations through Streamlabs, YouTube, Venmo, and Cash App, which are all linked in the description down below. Thanks again, and until next time, I'm P-Dog Knight, and I'm out of here.